Thank you for joining us. Apologies about last week's webinar rescheduling. We had a technical issue with the platform. Joining us today on Zoom is Sable Resources President and CEO Ruben Padilla. The company reported the results of drilling from the Fierro Project just over a week ago. The format of today's session will be an update from Ruben, followed by Q&A. Please enter your questions into the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. And before we begin, as always, today's presentation will contain the forward-looking statements. You can learn more about those in the presentation on the company's website. Welcome, Ruben. Good to see you today.
Thank you very much, Magda. And thank you to the people that are going to participate in this webinar today. You know, this webinar today is specifically about the drilling results of Pyros at the Fierro Project. So this will be a bit technical description of the significance of these new results. So we finished this campaign a month ago, and this campaign was, we know, is completely funded by Mochico, that has an earning agreement with us for El Fierro. And the news, we reported this intersection related to hydrothermal breccias. And this, I want to say that this is the second drilling campaign completed at El Fierro, at Pyros specifically. And this is, for me, significant because, you know, we are one of the few companies that do real greenfield exploration in San Juan, you know, outside of the main non-porphyry systems, historical porphyry system. We are one of the few companies that go there and look completely for new areas, for new zones. And El Fierro is one of these zones that was never explored before and never recognized this porphyry potential. So why are we exploring in San Juan? Is obvious in this moment. When we were there in 2017, there was not obvious. People were criticizing why we went in San Juan. Fortunately, we recognized that there was a big piece of the Miocene magmatic arc that has a gap of known deposits in this area here, from what we call Don Julio project that we have here to El Fierro and all the way to Jose Maria and Filo del Sol. So this area in the middle has no deposits, no property, because it's a park. It's a park of guanacos and vicuñas. So that was one of the reasons. Is the reason we explore here, because this big potential, we recognize that, and by being early movers, we have a very good control of land in this extraordinary mineral belt. And now everybody went back to all those non-porphyry systems, and they have been doing more exploration around those systems and getting a lot of success. So El Pyros, that is the objective of our meeting today, our call today, is located within El Fierro project area. The Fierro is, the geology is represented by a big Dona magmatic high that you can see here. This magmatic, all this magnetic high is located at the margin of the Miocene, around 20 million years caldera. It's a resurgent caldera with a lot of dioritic intrusions on the margin of this caldera, and the porphyries are related to those intrusives. Also, the district has a classic zoning from this white line that you see around here is more than 15 kilometers of veins, polymetallic vein with silver, with zinc and silver, typical of the margin of the porphyry systems. And then we have to target Pyros and Antenna, but Pyros is the main focus in this moment where we have done more work. This place is only located 120 kilometers south of Filo del Sol. It's part of the mineral belt, similar age, around 20 million years. And we did the first round of drilling of 5,000 meters, around 5,000 meters of Pyros in 2022. And we didn't drill until this year when we had the support from Mochico, the second round of drilling. So I want to talk about those first, the expression of Pyros on surface and the result from the first drilling and the logic of the first drilling. So Pyros, as you can see, is a big footprint in the ground. It's a large zone with D veins and B veins, typical of porphyry systems, with a strong sericitic alteration on the surface. But the rock that outcrop is not a Miocene rock. You can see this section here will be the section A prime here, prime. That section show you that basically the rocks that outcrop is a Paleozoic granite. That will be the current surface there. So it's basically Paleozoic granite and hosted in Paleozoic metasedimentary metavolcanic rocks. So all these A veins and D veins are affecting the host rock of the Miocene porphyry that is barely outcropping, a small outcrop, like a 5 by 5 meters in the middle of this. We sampled the rock in the middle that has some copper oxides and got the right age, 19 million years old, around 19.5. And so we decide, okay, underneath this large zone, 4 by 2 kilometers, that there is maybe a large porphyry system that it's just the cupola sub-outcropping. And what we decide to do is that we did MAC, and MAC show the magnetic anomaly, show a strong magnetic anomaly. This will be the same section. It ran in the middle, and we have all the veining on the top. So we decided to drill a fence that with the main focus was to drill into this possible porphyry center that was generating all these anomalies, which was true. We found really a nice porphyritic rock in the middle with a strong potassic and alteration and some good veining, but very low grade. And so that was when it was bad news, really, and because we drilled what makes sense in that moment, that was the center of the porphyry. So, but we noticed, I will show you in another slide. That's the fence that we drilled. And we noticed that we drilled in the main magnetic anomaly that will be in here. And the main magnetic anomaly you can see was only like a barely anomalous 500 to 1,000 ppm copper. But we got few zones outside the main porphyry in the host rock, in the granite. This area here, the number 1, that has better values. No, we have some section of 0.3 copper, 0.3 golds, and some values up to 1% copper. And also we had these other zones, zone 2 here, that was clearly anomalous, different than the other ones. And there has no really correlation. They were on the margins. They were not related to intrusive rocks. It was related to the margin to some kind of dikes, a few dikes and the bridges. And another thing that we noticed was this open deep zone here on 3. So I'm going to show you the characteristics of those zones. Like I say, there were the main target that was the porphyry came with no good grade. It's really atypical because this zone here is the one that has the best biotite, magnetite, and early quartz veins in the middle, and it's the zone that has less copper and moly. So it's negative correlation, which is very unusual in the porphyry system. So the zone 1 that is here on the margin, the center will be here. That one where we found was this zone here with breccias, with a strong biotitic alteration and disseminated chalcopyrite and molybdenite. Some dikes with a strong biotitic alteration. The biotite here is the magnesium-rich, the phlogopite with chalcopyrite. And some areas with like a dissolution zones with chalcopyrite and molybdenite in the granite and the host rock. The other area toward the west has different characteristics. It has all these like cavities that were with green micas, with chlorite and green sericite, and with chalcopyrite and pyrite, and copper. It was very strongly anomalous in copper and gold. Just a grades up to 0.4% copper equivalent. And so something was going on, was open here and was open there. And also we have this zone on the bottom. And the bottom was we discovered there another intrusive phase, like intruding into this low grade zone. And this is another cupola of another porphyry. And that one has EDM veins. EDM veins are typical veins like in the classic described in Butte deposit, but also in Pelambres and some other big deposits of the world. And you can see those veins are characterized by green micas and biotite and moscovite, and no quartz and very rich in chalcopyrite. So definitely it's a porphyry intruding in the bottom of this early porphyry phase. And there is Now I'm going to show you the results that you read in the press release from zone 2 and zone 1. We didn't drill zone 3 at this time. So we run the test. You can see here in zone 2. We drilled, those are the two holes that were anomalous in the first round of drilling, and we drilled one in the middle. So we have now two zones here. The zone A that has 160 meters of 0.24% copper, 0.14 gold, 197 moly, and that gives us a copper equivalent of 0.45 and that 160 meters. And we have another zone in the bottom that is 109 meters, or almost 110, 1.23 copper, 0.15 gold, and almost 600 moly. That gives us an average of 110 meters of 0.65. That's a very good intercept in breccia. That includes 20 meters of 1.52 copper equivalent. You can see there almost 0.6 copper, 0.3 gold, and high moly. This thing has a high moly, but it's copper, moly, and gold. And the mineralization you can see in the photos here, hosted by breccias. You can see these are fragments of the granite and fragments and completely cemented by rich chalcopyrite. You can see chalcopyrite in these areas like this. In some areas we have anhydrite cementing that these are clasped, and the clasp have in the middle anhydrite and chalcopyrite and pyrite and molybdenite. In this case has silica as a cement with chalcopyrite. And you can see again, this is a fragment here, and this is infilled and cementing with chalcopyrite and molybdenite. And this is clearly brecciating early porphyry because this B vein is a fragment within the breccia. So very, 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 for me, were really encouraging results now from these drill holes. And the next section is the other zone is this one here, the zone 1. In zone 1 is we discover we drill what we did with this was a completely new hole, but what we did with zone 1 because we knew that we had some anomaly in this upper hole. So what we did is this hole was drilled down to here in the first round. So we just extended this hole. We went back to the same hole and extended this, and we found in 76. You can see there, 76. We got 110 meters of 0.17 copper, low gold, and 112 moly. But has some higher grade area, 49 meters of 0.22 copper, 0.1 gold, 108 moly for 0.37 copper equivalent. And also we got the hole 68 down here. That's 48 meters of 0.3 and 82 of moly. And also all of these you can see in these beautiful breccias with cementing of chalcopyrite. So what does this mean now then? Is that this is the interpretation that we have in this moment. This is the geometry really what we see. What we drill at the beginning, there was the obvious target for the reason that I explained. It is an early low-grade phase of the porphyry. And the mineralization is related to the margins to magmatic hydrothermal breccias that are younger than this porphyry because it has fragments of this porphyry inside the breccia. And also, especially in this hole here, we found breccia along all the hole. And at the bottom of the hole, the last 40 meters, it has an intramineral porphyry phase with like a 0.4% copper. So definitely the breccia here and probably the intrusive that is related to the formation of these breccias. So I think this is good because basically this project was dead as long the only thing that we had was this very nicely altered porphyry, but with no mineralization. But with this grades completely open the exploration potential. So what do we learn from this? We learned that the central porphyry is barren, is the high magnetic anomaly. So we should not concentrate on the high magnetic anomaly. We should concentrate on more moderate values and on the margin of those high max. And another thing that we learned is the high IPs like here, that's 80s and 60s IP, that are also not related to the main mineralization. Normally, the best mineralization is related to moderate values of IP between 18 and 20 something or 30 maximum. And also they are related to low resistivity zones. This is important because in geophysics, every deposit has its own footprint. And we're learning this now. We can do a better use of the information that we have now to target for the next round of drilling. So now in this section, you can see in this slide, you can see the plan view of the whole Pyros porphyry system. You can see how small is the area that we have tested. That is the drill fence that we have been talking all these slides is about the drill test, the drill fence in there. This thing is like a 4 kilometer by 2 kilometers. And you can see all the very good moly anomalies on soils. And also we have copper and gold anomalies in here. This is the mag anomaly on the border. These are the higher values. That's the reason that we concentrate in the highest mag here. You can see in the section, that section will be this section. Here will be Pyros in this side and antenna on the other side. And antenna, we put one drill hole in the early drill phase. And so you can see now that what we need to do now is to get on the margin of this high mag that is the porphyry. Hopefully these are bigger breccia bodies that we will find associated to the margin of these porphyries. And so you can see only a small area has been tested. And the next drilling will be focused on the targets will be basically a combination of first go along a strike and down deep of this drill hole that has good results to see that thing grows into something bigger with good shape. We want to go on the margin of the max heights, moderate IP, low resistivity. We need to look for the right alteration that is classical of distal part of the breccias with moly, copper, and gold anomalies. And of course, if we find any evidence of outcropping breccias, that will be a target. So let's talk a little bit that the mineralization that we discover in Pyros right now is hosted by hydrothermal breccias, magmatic hydrothermal breccias. And this magmatic hydrothermal breccias, especially it's part of the world, in the Andes, in the middle, in the central Andes, they are related to porphyries, to mineralized porphyry systems. You can see in this section, that's the position normally of that will be the main porphyry stock. And this will be the cupola of the porphyry. Those will be the different intrusive phases of the porphyry. That will be the breccia that is strongly related to some of those intrusive phases. And we will have, on the top of that, if the system is not deeply eroded, we will have sericitic, like the case of that we have in Pyros. We are seeing the upper sericitic zone. We are in the top of the breccia. And we see even some evidence in the field of the deepest part of the advanced argillic. So we are really on the top of the breccia body. That section will represent complete breccia from the sericitic, will be from here to down. And normally the zoning of these breccias is from sericitic into potassic alteration at depth. And most of the time, the best grades are in the potassic zone at depth. So we have a lot of room to go really vertically in these breccias. And also, as just show you, along a strike. No? So you can see this is a great example of those Los Helados breccia of Lundin, NGX, in the border of Chile with Argentina. And this is a photo from Pyros, from our project. The really similar thing, cementable chalcopyrite, similar rock, the host rock, the fragments are Paleozoic granites. These are Paleozoic granites. So a lot of similarities between those helados. This breccia owned by Lundin. You can see here Los Helados is a good example for us, a good target style for us to follow. Hopefully we can get something like this. You look at this. This is a good example, no, of Los Helados. The current reported resources is 510 million tons of 0.72 copper equivalent. In 2020, they reported an indicated and inferred resource of almost 3 billion tons. But this is the new mineral resources that are indicated into this breccia. But look, the characteristic of this breccia, this is the granite, like in Fierro. There is a strong sericitic alteration, like a Fierro with porphyry veinlets, but barren. And then the breccias underneath, you can see the values around in copper equivalent. There are a bunch of area of 0.3, 0.4, 0.4, 0.5, 0.5, 0.6. That is the kind of results that we drill in the breccias in Fierro. And we have a lot of room to go along a strike and with this anomaly to hopefully find an area that will give the core of the high grade. So this is an example really with a similar, it's only 120 kilometers north of Pyros, Los Helados. And something very important to keep in mind is that this guy, the first drilling they did in 2006, they identify a zone of 0.23 copper and 0.23 gold, very similar to the holes that we drill in this round. And it took for them 5 years and 3 drill campaigns to get to the discovery scale, when they recognize, okay, the first time was, oh, there's a nice brecha, but they didn't know how big it was going to be, I guess. I was not there, but but they have to do all this drilling, and that's what when you go to new areas, when you work in this part of the world, you only can work for 6 months or 7 months. But a great example, it's a similar geology that hopefully Pyros can turn into something like this. So future exploration at the district scale, we need to reevaluate all the data that we have now. I already talked about the importance of the geophysical understanding that we have of this now. So we want to be, when we drill Pyros, we drill in the center of the map and the highest. When we drill antenna, we only put one hole in antenna, reconnaissance hole in the bottom of the thing. And we got almost 9 meters of 0.9% copper equivalent antenna, but we drill right in the center of the MAC. And we know the veins in Fierro, these veins that are 14 kilometers of vein, they are zoned from east to west in here and from west to east. Basically, they zone from high silver zinc and distal from the mag anomaly, and they get more copper rich with magnetite and gold when they get closer to the mag anomaly. So maybe they're connected to the porphyry centers and at the connection of these veins with antenna target. So we have a lot of work doing. We did a lot of the mapping. We have all the ground geophysics. We covered the whole property with soil, but with this understanding now, we can come back, focus on Pyros, trying to find one of those big breccias that I just mentioned there, and give it a try a little bit more around the antenna target, is to see if we can also grow that target. And I think before I finish, I just really have to recognize the financial support and the technical support for Mochico. It's great to have these companies supporting this complicated, expensive greenfield exploration program that can find elephants, and keeping a 30% of the big elephant it will be a big prize for Sable. That's it.
Thank you, Ruben. All right, so we've got audience questions. We'll start off with the more technical ones. So hole 25692 is a nice hit. What are the follow-up activities, and what is the time horizon for that work?
Yeah, well, what we're going to do is to go along a strike, north and south. It's completely open. We only put one hole. So we're going to step out for sure. We're going to step out another 200 meters south and north to see if the breccia continues and hopefully opens up, be bigger. We left the open. We put casing on the hole because ended in this. I told you in this intrusive with 0.4% copper at the bottom, in the middle of the breccia. So we case it because we want to come back and drill deeper into that hole to see the zoning, vertical zoning in the breccia. So that's the answer of the first part of the question. And the second one, the time frame. We can come back here, set up the camp and everything at the end of September, and be drilling in October.
Okay, got it. Thank you. And then how would you assess the results so far of El Fierro, and what is the long-term potential of this project? For example, is it Sable's best asset, or where does it come relative to the other projects in the portfolio?
It's the best intersection that we had in all the projects that we drilled so far. So it has to be, because of that, has to be the best one that we have in this moment, because drill holes are kings.
Yeah.
And what is the potential? Like I mentioned, because it's a breccia, and we have this breccia close by that is Los Helados, that it will be, we can get something like Los Helados, and this thing is going to be a big price for us. It makes a lot of sense that's the kind of target that we can expect at this moment. Hope to just get the same size, somewhere in this big anomaly.
for sure.
Yeah.
And then can you elaborate a little bit on how did you meet Mexico? I don't know if I pronounced that properly. And what are your hopes and expectations for the collaboration?
Well, I know Moxico for a previous relationship with a friend that worked in the board of directors of Moxico, and they knew about Moxico, that it was a great company. There was they was formed to buy an asset in Zambia, in the Zambia copper belt. Those guys were amazing. They just bought the project, went and built the project, and now they build the second one, the second mine. They are producing a lot of cash, and they have interest it's a group, it's a private group, and they have interest to grow in another jurisdictions. So through that connection and the interest that they have with that, the knowledge they have about the good job that we do, and also they understand about this early stage exploration and spending the money to do greenfield exploration and target these things completely outside of the main known porphyries. So that combination of the friendship that I have from before, from them growing as a producer and we being explorers, you got a good combination to put together everything.
Got it. Thank you. And some more questions. Do you plan to accelerate the project's work to generate more frequent news?
Yes, it's we win now that we have this intersection, we need to keep drilling, and if we have good intersection, there will be plenty of news. No? But I tell you again, for exploration, we can drill tomorrow 200 meters away, and then things just narrow down to nothing, and that's so the news depend of if we produce something is worth it to say. No? But we keep working all the time. No? The fact that we don't have so many news out there is because in this process of doing exploration in Greenfield, it takes a lot of time to get into something like this. But yeah, we will be producing news.
Okay. And then we have a question about valuation. The market cap is nearly as high as the cash balance. You know, how do you interpret this since the market cap doesn't give much value to the projects?
Yeah, the way that I see it is the people, the retailers that are the one that move the market. They don't see they can get rich in the next 6 months with this project, and they have option to put money somewhere else. And nothing you can do. We are going to drill in October, and we find that this breccia is a billion tons deposit. The people that are staying today, they will be right in the discovery, but people sometimes don't want to take the chance, and then they are more sellers than buyers. And when people push the price down and offer less, there's somebody selling at a lower price, and it's really is I would say the lack of a good a drill hole that shows size. In this case, we have a hole that shows the potential is real, and as long we can when the best promoter will be to show another two holes that size. This thing is related to size, and then that the market will take care of that. No?
Okay, thank you. And then do you have an estimate do you know how high is the G&A spend?
For the whole Sable?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's what this question is asking.
We are like around 1.2 millions,
Okay.
1.3.
Okay, got it. Thank you. And then we have a question that was emailed in. It's a tough one, Ruben. As a longtime shareholder, are we ever going to see $5 a share?
I hope so. Like I said, it's how can you get to that? Very simple. We have 280 million shares. Let's say 300 million, just to do a simple math. $5 will be 1.5 billion value. If we can find a filo del sol, that will be there. No? So, and if we find something like Jose Maria that was sold for 650 million, the value of the share will be 2.5, no 5. But but we always play to look for the elephants, not to look for less than that. No, but you know, the share price. I know this is a good, it's a good humor into this presentation. I like it.
Thank you. And just one question about something you had on slide 13. Do you have an estimate? You know, you were kind of saying how you want to be at the margins of that center because that's where you get the best grades. Do you have an estimate of how far that margin would be relative to where like that drill hole is on the screen?
In this section,
Yeah.
we know that it's open toward the east. So so you can see the scale here. So it can be 300 meters in that direction and then this side. And it is already like a 300 meters in this side, 300 or 400 meters, which is normal in these bridges. And
Okay.
and then we go back to the brecha of these guys. You can see the ridge zone really here is around 250 meters wide. And so hopefully what we have in one of these things is that we are drilling one of these margins between 0.3 and 0.5 equivalent. That's what we are drilling. And to the east especially, hopefully this thing we have the bigger brecha to the east. And that's just in this section. But when we see that in plan view, remember, this is just the little zone in this area here and this area. But the problem, how long is going to go along a strike, no? So that's the reason that we need to drill 200 meters and 200 meters and 200 meters along a strike to see if we have a couple of those breccia bodies. Something I like also interesting is this relatively mild low. You can see here in the geophysics in the section here in the middle. So maybe we'll be in this side of the mic high, this mic high, that we will have the main breccia. And I also like a lot this one because a lot of good alteration in this part of that we haven't drilled, no, in this area. So around the fence, I would say right here, like at 400 and 400 meters, and then along a strike, I will try the system. It could be 600 meters along a strike. So try along 600 meters, and then target these other areas.
Got it. Thank you. And then do you have a sense of the size of the program that would start in Q4? And can you tell us how decisions relating to exploration are made at El Fierro?
Look, I tell you what I would like to have. I would like to have between 5 and 10,000, but that doesn't mean that it's going to happen. How this thing, the decision is taken, we propose the exploration work and the budget to Mochico with a presentation like this, talking about the potential. And we try to get with them with a consensus that it's better to accelerate this because for them and for us, it's better to know this thing is going to be big or going to be stay small forever. So, I hope that Mochico, because it's a company, a very aggressive company, really wants to move fast. Thinks just like us in this case. Let's hit it hard with 5,000, 10,000 meters to test for the big targets. And then when we propose that, and then they approve the budget, and we have to go with whatever budget they approve.
Got it. Thank you. I was going to say I don't see any further questions, but we just got another one. Given Sable's present cash position, why was the decision made to let the NSRs go to Cisco at the valuation and point in time currently?
Yeah, the reason is, look, there's nothing to do with the time. I was trying to sell those NSR from a long time ago because we aren't on the business of NSRs. So we are in the business of doing greenfield exploration, and if we can capitalize in that, we should get the cash and get ready to keep going doing exploration. So we don't want to be in the situation like everybody knows. Everybody is happy when we have cash, but when we run below $6 million in that moment, and everybody knows that maybe there's no money available, and you will hate me more because you have a company it has a lot of expensive project and no cash. There are only two things are really bad with having a junior that has his broke is really a bad thing to have. So that's explanation to say that it was never like a special situation. During that time when we tried to sell those royalties, there was no interest from anybody. I tell you something, the interest were like I give you $500,000 if you want, or $700,000 per some shares. And then what happened is that discovery of Aurora brought a lot of attention to the package, and I have a specific attention from Cisco Worldwide, which we have great relationship, and they have been a strong supporter. Remember, the company put $10.5 million for future royalties into this company. It has been bought 9.5% of the company, so it has been the strongest than anybody in this world for Sable. So I have a lot of respect for them. They come with a. We talk about this offer. They say we understand the potential of Aurora. They want to have the chance to control that. And then we did a deal that I think was very good deal. So we got $3.8 million, and we have the option to get another $5 million as soon as the guys of Baker Shasta report 120 meters or 1.2 grams equivalent. So to answer the question is, I don't think that was a precipitated thing. I think it was the right thing to do. And the valuation is the right valuation.
Got it. Thank you. I don't see any further questions. If anybody has any other questions, Ruben, was there anything else you wanted to cover today? My apologies.
No,
I don't see any other.
I thought.
Okay. There's a comment, but it says, please let Ruben know. I'm an early investor in Mexico and impressed with this presentation.
Thank you very much. Good to see that.
All right. Well, thank you. So if anybody has any other questions or would like a follow-up, please email info@adcap.ca and we will get back to you. And apologies about the rescheduling again. We ran into a technical issue at the very last minute before going live last week. So thank you, Ruben.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to the audience. Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.